We're usually inspired by spaces and unique spaces, and so this was like an opportunity to transform a completely new environment and do some things that we had thought about but hadn't really had the space to execute.
Collaboration's really central to what we do. We collaborate with each other daily. You can do so much more when you're working together than when you're by yourself.
Working with somebody else that's equally inspired or just passionate about what they do pushes everything forward a lot more.
I'm Felicia Estenza.
And I'm Joey Felastri.
And we are Milagros. We're originally from Florida, and we live in New Orleans and spend a lot of time between there and Miami.
We're primarily focused on painting and mark making, and that leads us into installation. And we're really interested in transforming spaces and creating environments for free expression and a feeling of safety and comfort.
The atrium space is really unique. It's very tall. So for us, it was really important to kind of psychologically fill the space up and physically.
This space really just offered us the opportunity to explore fabric and textiles a lot deeper than we have been able to in the past.
Something that people might not be able to tell just by looking at the installation is that the majority of it is made out of fabric.
We started working with fabric pretty early in our practice, but we didn't really consider combining it and sewing it and turning it into giant planes that completely cover space. And this was the space was an impetus to like push it further and use it in a different way. We like to use bright colors, so that's why we chose to use like a neon scape for all of the fabric that's more dimensional. And the background, we wanted it to be blue because it recedes, so it makes all of the other colors like come forward even more.
And the patterns is what we've been working on for the last 10 years or more, and we really like how it implies movement, and with this project we're actually going to give it some more physical movement because we are using the fans to give it some more dimensionality. So we were excited about taking it from more of an implied movement into like a physical movement. The little plush guys, I've been calling them cuddle buds, but it references another part of our practice where we collect styrofoam pieces from the Mississippi River and we turn them into these pet rock Beanie Baby-esque type things called crud buddies, and we give them all their own name and personality. And so for us it's like a happy entry point into talking about a much heavier concept, which is pollution and climate crisis. But this is like a way to put a smiley face literally on that. And when we were on our way to Jacksonville, we actually found a big cache of foam, and we knew that there would be some leftover fabric, so we were like, we can make like a plush version of these crud buddies that we've been making in New Orleans. We thought that it would be cool to use this opportunity as a way for people to see our work, but also be able to physically enter it in a way that they haven't been able to before. And we kind of like how it references like childhood blanket forts and stuff like that. Like we thought that the softness was really important, especially now that we're coming off of a couple of very heavy years for everyone.
I think the bubble is a way to become completely immersed in the space and really be able to lose touch with what's outside of that space. And we really wanted it to be a space where you feel incredibly safe and not judged by anybody. So you have a moment for free reflection or free expression. I think that a lot of times if you're in a space and there's multiple advantages for people to look onto you, you act a much different way than if you're in a space that you know you're not vulnerable, so you can be vulnerable. This space really let us figure out how to implement it in a way that was more accessible to the public. So it's exciting for us to see how it functions and how people interact with it. We like to kind of push the boundaries of what painting and installation can be, and we also like to think about keeping people engaged in a space to just have them like be immersed in it for longer. Whenever we're working on canvases, we're thinking about composition and how different elements affect each other, and it's kind of similar to what we're doing here. It's like we're thinking about a few different elements and how they interact with each other, and then thinking of the whole space as like a canvas. So each visual element is reactive to something else, and I think that that's something that applies to our smaller works as well.
We're just interested in making spaces that feel that people have stake in and they feel like they belong in, and yeah, making things like accessible to everyone is like really important to what we do.